You've probably taught your teens to work before, but sometimes do you feel like you're reteaching them to do the same thing again and again? That doesn't sound very fun, does it? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about good parenting, communication, how to solve problems as a family calmly, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about reteaching teens to work. In this video, we're going to talk about my experiences teaching teens to work, because I've had a lot of those experiences, and also key things that you can do to not have to reteach as much, but also when you do reteach, to really nail it. So I've raised 4 children of my own, and they are all adults now, and they have incredible work ethics. In fact, I couldn't be prouder of the way that they have turned out. They truly have hard work ethics in school, but also in their jobs and careers and with their families. They really keep going all of the time. They do kind things for their spouses. They don't expect their spouses to lift the loads of things all by themselves, but they work with them hand in hand. My youngest son right now is actually serving a mission for our church, and he is working nonstop every day, just doing work to try to make the world a better place for people around him. Just work is part of our family. But have my children always been amazing at work? Well, the answer is no. Especially during their teen years, we oftentimes have to reteach work. I know that sounds so annoying. Can't they just remember the way that you always did it before, or what they've been doing for a long time? Why suddenly is the work quality going down, and what do we do about it? So let's talk about this. Before I started raising my own children, when my oldest 2 were just toddlers and babies, I started taking in troubled teens. Now, these teens came into my home from who knows where. They were therapeutic treatment children, so they had a lot of issues, trauma, drama, processing differences, all that kind of stuff they were working with. So when I brought them into my home, I had to assume that they didn't know anything. And we had to start from scratch. Here's where everything is. These are the basic guidelines and skills and rules for the home. Here's how to clean the bathroom my way. You know, all that kind of stuff. Now, somebody might be annoyed that you're taking a 17-year-old aside and saying, here's how you clean a bathroom. But sometimes that is required. In fact, I've found that for most teens, it's required to do some reteaching during those teen years. So even though those children had learned how to do chores at other places, they would frequently say to me, oh, I never knew that's why you do that, or I've never thought of doing that when I'm doing this chore. They would learn new things every time. So if we never do any pre-teaching with them and always just assume they know what to do, we're setting ourselves and them up for disappointment. I know that the teens and the parents can both get annoyed by the time that it can take to do that reteaching, but in the end, it frees everyone. So don't be afraid of putting in that extra time, because it creates more clarity in the relationship and in the to-do lists that need to happen at home. The brains of people are changing all the time, but of course, during childhood, there's aggressive change that is happening all the time. Once puberty hits, processing changes. In fact, children oftentimes forget things they knew very well before. Sometimes a child that was very good at math suddenly struggles with math and can't keep their thoughts straight. Sometimes a person who's read a book suddenly can't remember what was in that book before. This is because hormonal changes on the brain can sometimes make a person airheaded, have increased stress or tension, emotional things going on. There's a lot happening with hormone changes on a person, and so of course you have to be understanding. Well, one of the things that we have to understand is just because we taught something before and they've even done it before doesn't mean we don't take the opportunity to teach something again. There are a lot of reasons we might teach something again, and we're going to talk about those and how to do it right. But before we do, click subscribe right now, because this channel has content that's going to help you and your children both be better at self-government, calmness, and coming closer together. Click subscribe now. So let's talk about how to do the training process. Every once in a while, you're going to want to say to yourself, when was the last time I pre-taught that skill? And I think I better do it again. just to show them. And you're going to even tell your children, sometimes, even though you think you know something, I'm still going to take the time to reteach you something, because that's actually a merciful thing to do. Sometimes we get complacent, sometimes our brains and chemicals shift and change, and I just want to make sure that we're always on the same page. So as a gift to you, every once in a while, I'll show you how to do something, even though I know you already know how. So that type of pre-teaching is really great. Now, in the moment when you are doing that pre-teaching, don't be condescending or talk about mistakes they've made in the past. That's beside the point. You're doing a teaching. You're not doing a correcting at that time. So what you need to do is say, hey, let me show you how to do this. And I'm going to explain why, even if I think you know about it, I'm still going to tell you, just because I want to make sure that I've given you as much information as I can. And of course, one of our teaching self-government skills is disagreeing appropriately. They can always use that skill to disagree appropriately with you if they feel like they need to tell you something that you didn't already understand, or maybe that they completely get how to do that chore and don't need the training. But if you feel like they need it, do it anyway. When you are reteaching a chore, be as specific as possible to the teen. Help them understand every single step, and make sure that you're optimistic about it, hopeful, that you give this tone or feeling like you know they're going to be able to handle this no problem. Another part of that pre-teaching, however, is making sure they have it down clear. So have them show you what you just showed them, which means you might clean the same bathroom twice in a row, but that's okay. Clean it, show them how it's done, and then have them clean it so that they are sure. And then make sure that you ask them if they have any questions for you. So say, hey, you did a great job at that. So you're going to praise what they did. Do you have any questions about any of it, or any things, suggestions even about making the process even better? So if you now are appealing to them for suggestions and questions, that shows them that you do respect the fact that they're listening to you right now, that they're taking this training, and it puts them in the mindset of, I want to do this my very best. I remember when my mother did that for me, and I started talking about how with dishes, I think we need to clean the sink and like disinfect the sink and everything every single time that we are done doing dishes. My mom said, I think that's a great idea. Of course, I was the one that did it 99% of the time, but still I felt really good about making sure everything was completely clean every single time that I did the dishes. And my mom would always build me up too, and she would say, wow, Nicholeen, every time you get done doing the dishes, the whole sink smells fresh. Everything is clean. The counters are clean. The faucets are shiny. It really looks clean in here when you're done. You are great at this. And so she solicited my opinion. She said it was a good idea. I followed through with it with confidence, even pride in my work, because I knew it was my idea to do the dishes that way. Now, once you have retaught a skill, remember, no nagging. If you need more reasons on why not to nag, I do have other videos about nagging and why it doesn't work. If you have pre-taught your child how to do the skill and they don't do it, you must go to a correction, not to nagging. They need the opportunity to be corrected and fix the problem, instead of feeling like you're going to come in and save them and micromanage everything for them so that they don't have to do any thinking. The whole point of reteaching a chore to a child is so that they can think through the process for themselves. Now, if you have a child who maybe has ADD or something like that, and they have a hard time staying focused on a list of things, then maybe you will take behind a cupboard in every room a piece of paper and you will list everything that needs to be done on it. So I did that at one point. Every room, I said, okay, this is how you clean the bathroom. And then I took the list and I laminated it, and there was a white board marker in every room, and they could check it off as they went through. And then once it was all done and it was checked off, then we would just erase it for the next time. So they knew they got everything done on the list. So that's another option if you have a person who has a hard time remembering, but you don't want to be the person remembering for them and nagging them, because that actually teaches them to be codependent, and they will not learn to train themselves to remember the process that you're teaching them, which in the end hurts them and the whole family, because somebody has to be watched over all the time. If you've enjoyed this video, I know that you will like the next video, which goes into a lot more detail about learning the skills and principles of self-government. That video is called The Not So Known Secret to Parenting Success. So click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.